We're going to demonstrate how to dress a wound with membrane hydro. This membrane comes packaged between 2 layers of mesh in a double pouch. You remove the first pouch from the outer pouch and tear it open at the perforation. You then remove the mesh with forceps. The membrane is in between the 2 layers of mesh, which has been folded over the membrane. You will then use forceps to separate the front and back mesh to expose the membrane. The mesh has been folded on one end, so you'll need scissors to cut that end. You'll see us separating the mesh here and then inserting our scissor in between the mesh to cut the mesh on the end. Once this is done, you'll separate the mesh and then expose the membrane. The membrane will stick to one side of this mesh or the other. You'll need to carefully examine that to make sure which side. It does not matter which side. Once you've determined the membrane is on the mesh, the mesh will then be applied with the membrane side down. You'll see the membrane on the mesh outlined by the forceps here. The membrane is then placed down on the wound, and the membrane is kept in position as you remove the mesh off the membrane, leaving the membrane in place. You will then use the forceps to make sure that the membrane is on the surface of the wound, and then use it to put any excess membrane back onto the wound. The membrane will be very malleable to allow this very easily. You'll then cover this with a silicone dressing and secure that with steri strips. The outer dressing is chosen by the clinician. You can also pour the excess saline on the wound.